recycling. Without that, I'm not sure how much further we can go, because it becomes an economic standoff between the price of taking the material to the landfill and the price of doing the recycling. And without the resolve of government, the economic picture is probably going to stall us close to where we are today.
Our next panelist is Wendy Summer from the Alameda County Waste Management Authority. Let me give you some background on Wendy. Wendy's been with the Alameda County Waste Management Authority and the Alameda County Source Reduction and Recycling Board since 1991. She manages various programs focusing on construction and demolition recycling, green building practices, and public education. Wendy also serves as a liaison to the Technical Advisory Committee, which is comprised of member agency staff. Wendy Summer, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mary, and good morning to all of you. We are quite familiar with materials associated with construction and demolition, such as concrete, wood, metals, drywall, but it's helpful to consider and be aware of the various sources of construction and demolition materials. Some of the sources that are often overlooked include land clearing, disaster debris, bridges, and roadway construction. And it's very helpful to consider the source when you're planning a program approach for your community. Why are we targeting C&D materials? The latest data still show that we are disposing up to 4 million tons per year of construction and demolition debris, and that translates to about 11.6% of amounts disposed. And this percentage is significantly higher in growing communities. In Alameda County, we have some jurisdictions that are experiencing major growth, and the waste comprise of 50% of C&D materials. So more and more cities are targeting C&D to achieve the 50% and beyond goals. As you have seen in the video, more and more mixed C&D facilities are coming online, and these facilities can recycle up to 90% of the debris, making this a very economically viable option. When designing your program for your community, it is very helpful to consider the hierarchy of waste management of reduce, reuse, recycle, and buy recycled. Reduce by incorporating source reduction in the design, preventing the waste in the first place. It could be as simple as just measuring twice and cutting once. Reusing, taking advantage of deconstruction and salvage. Recycling by source separation on site, and buying recycled using green materials and recycled content materials in your buildings. Some of the tools and strategies that have been used in communities in California for source reduction included green building guidelines, working together with the building industry to create these guidelines. Reuse, you saw in the video, the city of Cotati has a deposit program. By promoting materials exchanges and used building material stores in your community. Tools and strategies for recycling. One of the easiest ways to start a program is by identifying your service providers and creating local guides and distributing them widely. Case studies are very powerful tools to spread the news. It provides an opportunity for you to team up with the builder and the recycler and to showcase a project. Everybody looks great. Siting assistance is key for processing facilities. Local jurisdictions must be willing to create land use opportunities to encourage the siting of recycling facilities. Other jurisdictions have approached the C&D debris by using pre-processing requirements, such as the city of Hawthorne, working together with their hauler to require pre-processing. Also, C&D plans. Communities have comprehensive plans for C&D, waste management plan requirements, as well as incorporating recycling as part of their permitting. The Alameda County Waste Management Authority recently endorsed a model ordinance for C&D recycling, requiring that all construction and demolition projects recycle up to 50% of their waste. One of the jurisdictions that has adopted this is the City of Dublin. They actually have a more stringent requirement. They have incorporated performance security as part of their ordinance. The City of San Jose is also in the development of a deposit program. For Buy Recycled is mainly specifying green building products. This is very exciting and a new frontier. Directories are also helpful. You want to encourage people to use recycled building materials, you have to provide the local sources. Another way to do this is to have a materials exhibit or display. We have one in Alameda County. You can view it in our website, which is www.stopwaste.org. In closing, I just want to conclude with some keys to program success. Number one, buy-in. Get the involvement of your stakeholders, your community, your city departments, building, planning departments, very helpful, your elected officials, and not to forget the building industry themselves, the architects, the specifiers. Number two, customize your project. Just because the city of Los Angeles is successful with one program doesn't mean that that will work in your community. And number three, and very important, lead by example. Always try to incorporate your recommendations in your own programs.
Thank you, Wendy, for sharing some great ideas on C&D programs. Our next topic is commercial diversion programs. We saw from an earlier pie chart that there is still a lot of paper out there that needs to be recycled, and we hear that there is a lot of it being generated by businesses. Commercial diversion programs are much different than residential programs in how they're pursued. It takes a lot of different programs and businesses working together to make it all work smoothly. Let's check out how some communities have approached working to increase diversion at businesses and what types of projects they have worked on together with businesses.
What can government do to facilitate commercial recycling? There are many tools available. Government needs to understand how to influence businesses' bottom line. Methods successful communities have used include waste audits, procurement policies, landfill bans, waste exchanges, and changing zoning ordinances. Here are some of the successes.
SolarMax, it's a mini version actually of the statewide program CalMax, the California Materials Exchange Program, and the whole goal of SolarMax is to find reuse and recycling opportunities for things businesses might otherwise discard. Another example of a SolarMax lister is a local builder. He does new construction projects, and part of his process to manage the on-site construction debris is to hire a private company to come and haul off the lumber and cuts and plywood waste. And he's found that by listing SolarMax, he's been listing since 1997, he's been able to reduce the need for on-site pickup by 50%, which is just terrific. So he's saving money on hauling and disposal costs, and we're keeping these things out of the landfill.
BACR is Bay Area Creative Reuse, also known as simply Creative Reuse. And we collect all kinds of materials, byproducts of manufacturing, excess inventory, furniture, sometimes even appliances, computers, and we make these things available to nonprofit organizations and schools. Local government has supported the private sector and helps it to reduce what goes to the landfill by creating programs such as ours. Businesses don't have the time to research, to necessarily find out what options they might have, and when they call an organization such as ours, they know that we're going to find the potential users of whatever it is that they no longer need, and we act as a middle person, and we deliver essentially the goods by removing these things without them having to go off to a landfill. And the businesses that give us things have the benefit of getting a tax write-off at the end.
Dan Knapp of Urban Ore is attempting to site an eco-industrial park in Berkeley.
We think that actually zoning is one of the big barriers that faces recyclers. Many times when they outgrow a site or they become successful, they want to expand, they can't because they can't find land that's zoned properly. The city of Berkeley got real creative, and their planners came up with a new concept they call a material recovery enterprise. And they defined us as a material recovery enterprise because we salvage at their transfer station and we handle large quantities, thousands of tons a year of material. So what we've been able to do is to say that we want to create a cluster of material recovery enterprises all within one piece of property, and we'll call it an eco-park. In other words, a whole lot of businesses that are oriented around the idea that we're saving the environment.
Monterey's Last Chance Mercantile, a materials exchange facility, is a part of an eco-industrial park owned by a local JPA in Northern California.
The landfill is kind of the heart of the site, but there's less focus on the landfill in recent years and more focus on our materials recovery facility, where we get a lot of the stuff that goes into the Last Chance Mercantile.
What we do here at the Last Chance is resell items that are salvaged from our materials recovery facility. This year alone, we should receive approximately 500 tons of diverted materials from our MRF, along with another estimated 300 tons from residential donations and businesses who choose to bring their leftover merchandise here instead of dropping it on the tipping floor.
We just recently formed a regional group of the Santa Cruz, San Benito County, and Monterey County to try and pool our advertising dollars to promote recycling in the area. That the Waste Board and the Department of Conservation perhaps could put together some more TV spots, radio spots that
I'm going to the Monterey Regional
could cover the whole territory and give us all a little more bang for our tax bucks.
Agilent is a private business with its own recycling program. Local governments would do well to share this story with businesses in their own communities.
Well, for the most part, it's been our own effort. We saw the need and we stepped up and felt it was the right thing to do. We are aware of local government's involvement in the AB 939 program, and we do participate in what it calls the MAX program, where we put our materials in their brochure, which does go out to other people who may use our materials. We do desk side recycling, and we also recycle virtually all of our production materials here, including paper, cardboard, metals, plastics, packaging materials, whatever may come along. And we're doing 62% diversion of our waste stream at the present time. Now, we may take another 10%, 15% perhaps when we get into the cafeteria waste. Made about $250,000 last year in our recycled materials, and we also saved about $162,000, and you might say, well, we did not spend for sending materials to the trash. Well, we started doing this a number of years ago, and we just felt, number one, it was the right thing to do. It was just part of our company objectives to be a good citizen. And number two, we could see that there were going to be some needs in the future for recycling as the laws were being passed for solid waste management.
Finally, schools can be a leader in teaching our young people to recycle, and local governments will do well to promote programs like Fred Hall's from Oak Grove Elementary School in Sonoma County.
At one time, we were producing about 8 yards of trash a week, and we felt that this was not a way for our children to engage with the earth and take care of it. So we looked for ways to reduce that amount of volume. We've since come down from 8 yards to 1. There's the immediate savings. We save about $1,400 a year on what it would cost if we were still doing 8 yards of trash. We also collect a lot of California Redemption Value money from the cans and the bottles that we collect. Our neighboring school is now doing $1,000 a month just with California Redemption Value materials, and they fund their after-school program by recycling. So we've had schools just call us up and say, can we come and look at your program, and have copied one thing or another, or at least have gotten the idea of what could be done in a school. Well, I think government could be more supportive in, say, sponsoring workshops to help people understand how things could be done. Other question that I think has to be dealt with in your question is, what is the cost of not recycling as far as the planet is concerned?
Our panelist on commercial recycling programs is Kathy Cody. Kathy is the Environmental Services Manager for the City of Fremont. Kathy oversees the city's solid waste and recycling programs. These programs have contributed to Fremont's impressive 53% diversion rate. The city provides service to approximately 3,000 commercial customers and 45,000 single-family homes. Prior to joining the City of Fremont in 1998, Kathy worked in market development for private industry at Browning Ferris Industries. At BFI, Kathy provided financial analysis on acquisitions, divestitures, solid waste development projects, and municipal contracts. It's nice to have you here today, Kathy.
Thank you. Good morning. This morning I'm going to speak to you about how municipalities can improve commercial and industrial recycling and waste diversion efforts in their community. How important are business recycling programs? Statewide, businesses contribute 60% to the waste stream. In some communities, this is much higher. Because of the size of the waste stream, it's very important that these waste generators are participating in waste diversion programs. Implementing business recycling programs can be very challenging, however, because of the diversity of the customers and the mix of materials generated. Municipalities in California and throughout the country have met these challenges by implementing a mix of commercial recycling programs. Some key commercial recycling programs are waste prevention. This can include reuse stores like the Last Chance Mercantile, and promotional efforts by local government to encourage businesses to adopt less wasteful packaging and processing. Recycling programs, collection programs like the mini bin program in San Jose, or mixed paper programs that are prevalent through many communities. Organics. This could include grass cycling and composting programs, along with commercial food waste collection. I believe these will become more common. Buying recycled, building green. These are programs where local government can set an example by adopting environmental-friendly policies, building and purchasing policies, and encouraging businesses to do the same. Market development. This might include the Recycling Market Development Zone loan, or working with local landfills or waste processors. Many times additional materials can be diverted at the gate. Signing facilities. This may make sense in your community. It's important to have a place where material can be processed. In targeting business programs, it's important to understand who the major generators are. In many communities, 80% of the material is generated from 20% of the commercial businesses. The key is identifying major generators and developing programs that are suited to their waste streams. Sometimes it is not a particular generator, but rather a material that makes up a significant portion of the waste stream. In these cases, it's most effective to target a material across industries. A common example of this is mixed paper collection programs, although organic and C&D programs also qualify. Programs that target a particular industrial sector can also be effective and can complement materials collection. Examples of this might include programs that are targeted to multi-unit dwellings, hospitals, or manufacturing facilities, or even school districts. While small business may not be a large segment of the waste stream, typically these are customers that are often ignored or underserviced, and this is an area where local government can make an impact by providing either subsidized collection or incorporating small business recycling into curbside programs. Business customers will be more receptive to your programs if they understand that waste reduction and recycling usually does improve the bottom line. Local government can use a number of community tools to increase business recycling. This might include information, assistance, and waste audits. Staff can act as a resource for businesses that are trying to recycle. Good examples of this include the City of Los Angeles and the Alameda County Waste Management Authority. Partnerships and funding. Jurisdictions can provide grant funding, such as San Francisco. Staff can also participate in partnerships, such as the Santa Clara Valley Manufacturing Group, a business coalition which also has a solid waste task force comprised of public and private participants. Local government can influence commercial waste collection by incentives like franchise fees and deposits, requirements like goals, plans, and permit conditions. These are going to be discussed in more detail in a subsequent presentation. Community arranged services and facilities. These might include drop-off events or alternative workforces.
Community next steps that can be taken include identifying program gaps, talking to businesses and major generators, understanding the sectors that are not diverting. The Chamber of Commerce and other associations can be valuable resources as well as provide stakeholder input on proposed programs. It's important to remember that there are a number of resources that are available to jurisdictions that are looking to recycle. Community could consider joint outreach with other cities or counties or regions. Business associations, information assistance and waste audits are often available either from other jurisdictions or from regional agencies. Partnerships and funding may make sense for your community, and extra funding, whether it's from grants or from franchise fees, often is critical in successful programs. Lastly, siting and market development. It may make sense for your community. In order to develop a successful business recycling program, it's important to be flexible and understand that one program does not fit all, and that what may be successful now may not be successful later, so flexibility is key. And it's important that local government sets the example by implementing programs in their own offices. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, for sharing some great ways to encourage businesses to recycle. Our next topic is incentives, plans, and policies.